I've just received an email stating that my Moodle shell that I applied for on the LAUSD Moodle server is ready for my use. Now what? Let's take a look at the secondary template shell on the LAUSD Moodle server and see how, as a teacher, I can modify it to use with my students. If you follow the link in your email, you should be looking at the same secondary template shell that I have on the screen right now. The first thing you want to check is, do I have teacher rights in this shell? The best way to check is to look in the upper right-hand corner. If you have teacher rights to your shell, you will see Switch Roles To and Turn Editing On appear on the blue bar on the right-hand side. If it does not say that, you are probably enrolled as a student to the shell and do not have teacher rights. If you need to have teacher rights turned on, you need to contact your EdTech ITAF. You can find your EdTech ITAF at edtech.lausd.net and follow the link on the right-hand side to finding your ITAF. And then contact your ITAF and he will be more than happy to elevate your role to teacher so that you can see the shell the way it's showing right now. Once you have teacher rights, or if you already have teacher rights, you can let's take a look at this class. Now, first, this is a template, so it's just pre-populated with kind of sample things so you can modify it. The center section is where the instruction happens. On the right-hand side, you will see what are called blocks, and these blocks add functionality and information to the shell so that even having resources you can watch, movies and tutorials on how to operate your shell. Now, for us to modify the shell, we need to turn editing on. In the upper right-hand corner, if I click on the button, Turn Editing On, the screen changes, and I see icons that appear after the objects. Let's go over the icons very quickly so you can see what they mean. The first one you see here is arrows pointing in all four directions. That is the Move icon, and I can grab it and move it to a different location, just like that. I can also indent by hitting the arrow, which is a handy tool for creating understanding and subgroups between different objects. I have the ability of editing the object, so I can click on that editing tool, which is called Update, change the name, and even type in new information for that tool. At the top of the screen, I have what are called breadcrumbs, and you see this is telling me where I am at this time. I can use this to navigate through my course. So right now, I want to go back to the course home. And I'll click on course home and it takes me back to the screen I just left. This other icon, this fourth one, the X, is kind of obvious. If I hold the cursor over that, it changes to delete. Since I have something right here that's a little extra that you won't have, I want to get rid of that. If I click on delete, it's going to ask me, do I want to delete this resource? I say yes, and now it's gone. The last one is the little eyeball, and that's for hiding. If I click on that, it makes this section invisible to the student, but I as a teacher can still see it, and it's shadowed. If I click on it again, it reveals for the student. Now I'll see these icons in different locations. Here's an update icon for editing the intro section here at the top. I also have the ability over here on the side of highlighting sections by hitting the little light bulb so students can see that I want to put emphasis on it. I can also hide whole sections by clicking on the eyeball, and it turns the sidebars into shadow, which shows the students will see nothing there if they go there. I'm going to turn that back on. Now, the two most important sections are these two pull downs. I can add resources which are information to the class. For instance, I can add a book, which is a sequential, or should say chaptered information, multiple pages. I can insert a label. I can compose a web page, link to another page outside of Moodle to put inside my class. Now, most of these do not interact with gradebook or assessments at all. If I go over to the other pull-down menu, add an activity, here's where I can add assignments. I can put in a forum for interaction between the students. I can add a glossary, a quiz, tests, a variety of different tools, most of which interact with the gradebook inside Moodle and gives you a chance to actually conduct an entire class here. Now the last thing I want to show you is this block right here on the right hand side. Let me pull this down a little bit. And it's called the administration block. There are a variety of different tasks that you can do here. One of them is to work on the gradebook. You can click on grades, and others are things like where you can put files in Moodle and where you can build questions for tests. Now the last thing I want to point out are these little question marks. All through this video today, you've seen these little question marks with the yellow circles behind them. This is where you can learn about things. If I click on that, it opens up a window that talks about the very object that has that little question mark next to it. So then you can actually read about everything in Moodle just by clicking on those question marks. And quite honestly, most of the information you need is right here so you can experiment. Now that's the operative word, experimentation. You can't hurt anything. So go ahead and try things, destroy if you want, modify, experiment. You can always restore it back to the original. You can always add new. So have fun. And next time we'll cover more details about the tools inside the Moodle shell.